think people should be who they are, and God makes everybody a little different.
Dude, I don't give a damn what you say.
Steve's always been cocky. Always. The conversations me, him, Wendy used to have on set, it's the same shit.
Salutations and welcome back to my channel, everyone. The erratic career of Steve Harvey is hardly news. There are peaks of renown and troughs of obscurity. And now for the tea. Steve's recent engagements might not be striking the same chords they once did, according to Vaughn. I believe he is still intelligent. Steve is still that, but you're also getting to see a different part of him that he's never had to. Here's where things start to get juicy. There are rumors that Steve has a little diva in him. Remember the Smartless podcast from 2022? Kenan Thompson did not hesitate to reveal his encounter with Mr. Harvey. When host Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, and Will Arnett started talking about Kenan's hilarious impression of the well-known host, the conversation turned hilarious. Okay, I'll have to take a moment to handle this. Will Arnett didn't think twice to call Kenan's portrayal of Steve one of his best. Our Nickelodeon hero, Kenan, had some information to impart though. He said, letting off a tiny bit of backstage drama. Steve Harvey didn't love it at first. I am acquainted with him. He would therefore undoubtedly communicate via shared pals or just the media. For example, tell the small obese boy to stop. But you believe that discouraged Kenan. Reconsider your position. Instead of backing off, he intensified his pursuit of Steve, closely following his every step, especially when Steve sprang into projects like A Little Big Shot. Kenan boldly proclaimed, "I never stop." He continued, "I'm on that too as soon as he does something, whenever he moves on from the family feud and does something else. You are on the radar if it detects you." So that you don't think this is all brand new, let us remind you that Kenan has already talked about Steve's reactions. In a July 2020 interview with a Hollywood Reporter, Kenan provided some insight into Steve's changing thoughts on the mimicry. He said that while Steve wasn't first very enthusiastic about it, he eventually fell in love with it. The delightful tidbit was that he told me in various ways, or would say it on his radio show, which led to people calling me and saying, "Hey, Steve Harvey is talking about you this morning on the radio." To which I would respond, "All right, I'm sure he'll settle down once he realizes that I'm not attacking him." Fans may remember Kenan's remarkable appearance as Junior from 1996 to 1998 on The Steve Harvey Show. In 2017, the two were exchanging insults on Steve's talk show. "You don't know the calls you put in my life," Steve just remarked before adding, "Man, stay." "Did Kenan appear to you last night, Eve?" "Last night, I didn't see Kenan. He messed up your last night, boy." The stories of their friendship don't end there either. Kenan described a recent encounter she had while filming. "Steve and I just worked together to film Bring the Funny. He was filming Family Feud right next door. Kenan stated as I sat next to him, 'You better watch yourself.' For years, I've treasured my relationship with Steve." On Extra, Steve said, "We all know Kenan's career is alive and well because of me. He always won for joking bravado. It's amusing, but I want to kick his ass. Since I'm half the reason Kenan is here, I ask him to send me half of his salary. I suggest that anything might be hidden by this chatter." Steve's memo to his workers was released, shocking everyone in Hollywood. He stated, "My security team will stop anyone from standing at my door or who has the intent to see or speak to me," in the letter. "I want the ambushing to end right away. That includes the TV crew. You need to make an appointment, not just apologize." Steve refused to budge, citing commotion. "I couldn't even have lunch without someone bursting in," he lamented. "Many people in this room are respectful, but a few started acting inappropriately," he said. "Although I've always been amiable, there are boundaries. It appears that fame's glitz has its dark sides. This sensation has been compared by Steve to a prison. I simply didn't want to be in this jail any longer, where I was confined to this tiny room and was afraid to leave without someone coming up to me. I decided to write the letter," he admitted. He confessed, but it doesn't appear like he has any immediate plans to change. However, there's still more. Steve is accustomed to controversy and doesn't tread lightly, not even at work. He won't budge, claiming he can get away with almost anything. The boldness, might, which is worse. He has a long history of inappropriate behavior that goes beyond a single memo. If you believe this is an anomaly, reconsider your position. Steve has a history of making rude comments. The individual has come under fire for making prejudiced comments that range from racist to homophobic. Believe it or not, he even went so far as to disparage a book written for Asian men called How to Date a White Woman. Asian groups quickly denounced his humor as being blatantly hypocritical. Clearly, but it doesn't matter in the court of popular opinion. Eddie Huang also had none of it. He emphasized how Steve was willing to discredit Asian males while having the ideal position to support underrepresented voices in his own community. Additionally, he has been expressing out-of-date ideas about gender roles as if those things weren't enough. All males, according to Steve, are merely waiting for that one special time with their female pals. Right, you do that. Oh, and don't forget about his embarrassing encounter with Ernie Hudson. Even though Steve Harvey was unpleasant, we had a nice time. Because of how softly he speaks, my youngest son, Steve, was sort of poking fun of his voice. Don't show signs of annoyance while I'm sitting there. I'm going to knock him out, Ernie recalled. And for those who believe Steve could pause and reflect, reconsider, he has displayed utter disdain for consent. Steve gave a pretty dismissive response when asked how to reject unwelcome overtures, implying that a man's interest is, well, uncontrollable. There you have it then. The facade is broken, and what is visible is not appealing. Steve Harvey strikes me as a man who isn't about to throw in the towel. He has a troubled love life despite all of his relationship advice and contentious opinions, particularly the gender stereotypes he frequently incorporates into his comedic material. Isn't it ironic that Miss Relationship Guru has a past littered with allegations of adultery? Twitter was recently flooded by the Springs allegations that Marjorie had an affair with Steve's security team. Can you believe what was said? It implies that Marjorie is seeking a massive $200 million divorce settlement following her alleged liaison with their security and chef. Oh, the tension. But let's go a little further back in time. Steve married Marcia Harvey in the 1980s, just as he was starting to gain notoriety as a comedian. With a few years, tensions developed, and in 1994, with 3 children, they decided to call it quits. However, rumors suggest that Steve embraced Mary Shackelford a little too soon. Mr. Mary, who served as his second wife from 1996 to 2005, made a suggestion that Marjorie caught Steve's attention while they were still married. Additionally, Steve has called out atheists, saying, well, an atheist is someone who doesn't quite believe that there is someone out there, some God out there. As if that weren't enough, Steve has also made fun of atheists. So you must be a complete moron in my eyes. Wow, Steve, express yourself honestly. Now, worldly matters. Did you know Steve previously had a dispute with an airline? Yes, he was involved in a legal dispute with Business Aircraft Leasing, Incorporated in 2015. They said that our man wished to travel freely on a customized Gulfstream plane. Seat removals and opulent interior accents totaling $400,000 in renovations were requested. But guess what? Steve allegedly avoided paying the full amount. Even after all the renovations, they said he had orally agreed to lease it for a cool $97,000 per month. The story becomes more complicated, but ultimately they came to a deal with One World Aviation, one of Steve's businesses, and the suit was dropped. Steve Harvey tells stories that are truly larger than life, from romance to private jets. But we must ponder. What will this complex celebrity do next? Fans flocked to YouTube to voice their opinions on the contentious Steve Harvey case as the drama continued. Their impassioned and varied viewpoints provide a rich window into how the public perceives many issues. The adage, same people you meet on your way up, you'll meet them coming back down, was echoed in one response. That should serve as a sobering warning that karma frequently comes full circle. This user seems to imply that Steve's earlier transgressions might be coming back to haunt him. Such ideas frequently resonate in the world of celebrity, where ups and downs are a matter of public record. This is just a small portion of what the world knows about him. A different fan said as they peeled back the curtain, "He and his wife, in my opinion, have some nasty and deceitful habits. He reminds me of a con artist." This remark exemplifies the mistrust that some people harbor for public figures. The seen reality of Steve and the alleged reality appear to be at odds with one another, with the latter casting him in a deceitful light. It's always interesting to observe how some viewers only see the proverbial tip of the iceberg, while actually sensing much more bubbling away below the surface.